Flight Boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Antares Moon, Flight Boss, the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now I want to explain, and I want to talk about how to know if an ancestor is in hell. Because here's the thing, a lot of y'all who pray to y'all ancestors ain't give a fuck about y'all. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're not receiving any blessings from the higher life, which is blessings ain't nothing but being lessened, you know what I'm saying? Because you're a lesser being, that you receive blessings from a higher being because you are a lesser being. You see what I'm saying? So that's where the term blessing came from. But I don't never like to be less. That's why I don't never use the term blessings. But if that's where it correlates from. When you are a lesser being, so you receive blessings from higher beings. Now, if you're not receiving any blessings from your ancestors, this is going to kind of give you an idea of understanding. Now, for the most part, when an ancestor passes on, right, the energy, the frequency vibration that ancestor was in, and the things that they was putting attention to and acting on, when that ancestor pass off, the family members or the people that's close to that person, or anybody or anything that person was connected to, is supposed to share those vibrations. Same way you physically share these people things, like when you got a person that died in your life, everybody shares something that they had. Do you want this from this family member? Do you want this? Or you throw some of the things away. You see what I'm saying? But for the most part, it goes into all the worlds, even in the vibration and the frequency world. In the vibration, everybody's supposed to share a piece of that person's soul, because that person has went to a life where they're in a bigger life. You see what I'm saying? So the lesser life should be able to share a piece of that. For the most part, like if an ancestor lived for like 60 or more years, then their shapeless, formless, odorless, non-flammable gas, which is their smokeless flame, their spirit, their conscious, is automatically big enough. They automatically had enough years here. Now, they could choose to come back here, because it may not be, depending on what they was doing, right? The gas may not have got big enough to go into the spirit or conscious may not have got big enough to ascend. So it may just be small enough to take one of these vessels again, but just be big enough to have a lot of wisdom and knowledge next time they come here. You know what I'm saying? And not repeat the same pattern. They have another level of experience to get over, right? But if you have a family member who died 60 and below, that's a little bit before it was even able to get that big. So a lot of times they take different forms here again. But for the most part, we're going to get into this. Now, when we're looking at ancestors, right? Be careful, because this is how you also know if your ancestor, whether it's your grandparents, your parents, siblings, or whatever, this is how you know they didn't give a fuck about you when they was here. Because things that you pay attention to, the energy, frequency, vibration that you put in on this world, right? When you pass on, the people who are in the lesser light are supposed to share that. So if you had no real ideas, if you had no real feelings and emotions, if you had no real aspirations for someone when you was alive, then when you pass on, that person will not receive it. So for an example, if you a child of someone or a grandchild of someone that passed on, right, and you constantly praying to your ancestors, but say you in a circumstance or situation where you got a job, or you in some type of life situation that you've been in, and since you in a lesser life than a life that's above you, you're not able to see your way out of circumstances and situations as easy as these beings. So you still have to experience. So a lot of things is not your responsibility. Like, I need y'all to understand that don't take everything on yourself. Even though you're responsible for your life, don't put so much on yourself, because there's still outside influences. And here's what we're talking about. Now say you've been going, and it's been working as a burden, and you've been praying to your ancestors like, man, just give me a break. I know you're gonna come in my life, and this, that, and the third. If you don't receive none of these breaks and things of that nature, then that's letting you know right there, that ancestor didn't give a fuck about you. Even when they was alive, they didn't give a fuck about you like that. So you're not gonna receive any blessings by being a lessened being from this person. Now, once again, we could go to another analysis. If you also, this is how you know if your ancestor actually was fucking with you also. Because for the most part, now, your ancestor, in their life, now, if every time you think about this ancestor and you feel down, you feel depressed, you feel worried and things of that nature, or you feel bad and you feel like you want to cry, or it always bring you down. Key word, it bring you down. Now, it might not be bringing you down physically, but if it's bringing you down, that's happening somewhere. So if every time you think about this person to bring you down also, that's letting you know your ancestor in hell. And they got a lot more other shit to worry about than what the fuck you on. So they don't, so you know, they're in hell. They're also in hell. This is why every time you connect with them, your connection brings you down. It don't bring you nowhere high or nowhere happy. It brings you down. And in the physical realm, it'll play out through your emotions and your feelings in this aspect. And you might start expressing downness or crying and things of that nature. So that's another way how you know your ancestor is in hell. Because here's the thing, right? When you're receiving blessings or you're not receiving any blessings from your ancestors, they're not relieving none of your situations or anything of that nature. Here's the thing. This what this means. The life that your ancestor went into, they're doing the same thing they was doing here. So if they didn't give a fuck about you like that, or really didn't have you on their best interest like that here, it's not going to be like that there. So whatever life and family that they're in there, they're living the same way of not giving a fuck about certain circumstances that's going on in their life now, and only caring and feeling about what they're caring about. So whatever family or whatever bodies they're around in that life, they're repeating the same thing. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like they're doing the same thing. So you're not, it's like, so on earth, if they wasn't really a wise person or this, that, and the third, and they was just a dumbass, you just had a dumbass family member or a dumbass friend or person you was connected with, then wherever they go, it's the same thing. You see what I'm saying? So you can't, these ain't the ancestors to call on, these is the ancestors to help. Because the ancestors that truly went to heaven, right, or truly went to a blissful place, or truly cared about you, you would know because you would receive the blessings. See, in their life, it's not like you calling on them and they know you calling on them so they do something for you. No, just in their level of existence, they're doing the right thing. So in their level, and whoever their family and friends is in that level, and whatever they're doing, they're adding wisdom and knowledge to it. Like, they're not repeating the same pattern. So basically, when they was here alive, they was doing the same thing, having wisdom and knowledge, and really cared for you, and really wanted to see you do better. And whatever they was doing, you know what I'm saying, they just wanted a better position for you also. But whatever they was doing in their day-to-day life, they was, in that lifetime, they wasn't trying to, they was trying to cancel experiences and add experiences that they was trying to better themselves and things of that nature, and cut people off, you know what I'm saying, and live right, you know, or whatever was right to them. You know, they was doing that here. So in the next life, they're doing the same thing. So just by them doing that, by you being a descendant, right, you will receive the benefits and pleasures from that, because it's in the subconscious. So when you connect to them, you automatically tap in like, oh, I know they're in a better place. I know they have. You automatically start to the shapeless formless will start taking shape and form and manifest situations in your life that's like uplifting. Like, you know what I'm saying, you might not have to work so much, or you might get a better job, or you might, you know what I'm saying, things might happen, or you might get into the same energy, frequency, vibration that your ancestor was in. So whatever there was a success in, you end up becoming a success in, and they end up becoming a part of you and work within you and things of that nature. But in their life, they're just doing things the way they do things, but they're doing right things. So it'll play out. You see what I'm saying? They're not in no pattern. They're doing the same thing here that they're doing there. This is where I get the science from, that you're always, it don't matter what level of existence you're on, you always was doing the same thing. It don't matter if it's the past or whatever level, whatever vessel you was in. Whatever you was doing, whatever you're doing now, that's what you always was doing. You always was doing the same thing. You always was doing the same thing. So every experience you go through, you're here to understand that and be like, all right, I don't want to experience this no more. I don't want to continue doing this. I don't want to continue doing this. And it'll play out in your life as things that you get tired of. Things you know you're tired of. You know what I'm saying? And then things that's new and refreshing, these are things that you know you need to experience. So what people fell short is you're supposed to create your experience. But you fall short to the experiences that's here for you, and these is what put you in patterns. You know what I'm saying? This is why when you say a person who have been at work for so long, and be like, man, fuck this, and just walk out. That's a new experience. Now all the thoughts and spirits that's getting ready to attack you and make you feel certain ways and things of that nature, that's a whole different story. And the way you assess yourself with those experiences is how much is gonna depend on how much you know life and how much you know how to conduct yourself. But for the most part, that's actually the natural vibration that you're supposed to be in, because you experience something new. Now, once you get attacked by spirits, and then certain spirits give you ideas that this is supposed to feel this way, or you're supposed to feel bad for doing that, or you're supposed to feel responsible for doing that. You're responsible for that. Now, if you letting these other spirits take you down into other worlds and things of that nature and making you feel obligated or responsible, or you shouldn't have done that and things of that nature, then that's on you. How you work with that, that's in your life. But I'm telling you right now, you're creating things on your subconscious. But for the most part, that's how you know if your ancestor is in hell. So you could be praying to an ancestor, but you always gonna get what you want. So there's no such thing as a prey without a predator. Now, if your ancestor is in hell or don't give a fuck about you, then what you're doing is you're praying for an entity to play that form, or you're nagging your ancestor, and then you're making your ancestor upset. So in the life that your ancestor in, is the same way like your ancestor was here. Probably was a motherfucker who woke up upset, kept doing the same fucking shit. You see what I'm saying? And things of that nature. So the connection, you will receive bad connection from that. So you will receive bad manifestations that take shape and form. To the point that in your life, it'll play out as you feeling down, feeling upset, doing something just because you thought about that person today. Oh man, they killed my motherfucking nigga. I'm about to go out here and kill everybody. Or you know what I'm saying? Or you end up getting killed. Or it play out as a circumstance, a situation in your life that don't go in your favor. You see what I'm saying? This shit is deep. It goes so deep, you even need to take the consideration of how your ancestor was killed. Did they have a natural death? Did they just die? Or did they get killed in like a car accident? Or did they die from a murder or whatever like that? Because that determines where they went also. Because in the physical form, the harsher the death, let you know where they're going also. Because in the physical form, you must have been in some form of hell to even experience that. Because somebody else must have had you in their hell in their head for them to even express that towards you, to kill you. So you already was dealing with that frequency vibration, and then to even be in hell, you have to be in some form of a rotation. I don't care if it's a good rotation or a bad rotation. Hell and heaven is the same thing. That's what people don't understand. You got to create what kind of pattern you're going into. But once you understand that all patterns is hell, you understand that every vessel you come into, you here to cut off patterns. And that's the true life. That's the true transformation. See, so religious people think they're going to heaven, they're just going to another hell. They're going to the same hell. So where they think they're going into all light and blissful, that's the same place where they think they're going to all fire. You see what I'm saying? Which fire and light isn't the same thing, but in the physical realm and how religious people try to attach it to, it is. See, religion, those spirits that taught religious people know what's going on. But the way that the spirits do it is they try to have power and control over those energies. You see what I'm saying? Like, see, fire ain't light. But you can't tell a religious person that. Because you will look at fire and you will see that light comes from fire. See, fire has the power to emit light. Water has the power to suck in light. See what I'm saying? But fire and water has nothing to do with light. Y'all need to understand that. Fire and water ain't got nothing to do with light. Ain't got nothing to do with darkness. But you can see what they're related to. But they're part of the same thing. You see what I'm saying? Light is way something else. This is why if an ant was close to the sun, it'll burn up. But if you put an ant close to a light bulb, it won't do nothing. See? There's fire dealing with the sun, but the light ain't necessarily was hot. See what I'm saying? The light ain't necessarily part of the fire. But like I said, when your ancestor died, the way they died also will tell you, because they was already dealing with some frequency vibration of hell, and then they was in some type of pattern, in some type of rotation, and then that was what had to take place, and that was the shape and form and the people, places, and things that the no thing, which is God, had to take a shape of. God had to take those, because God had no shape and form. So God had to take one of those shapes and forms in order to cut that pattern for you, because you wasn't wise enough to cut that pattern. So God had cut the pattern for you and then put you in another level that you can handle, so you can understand those patterns better. And then if you can learn how to cut off and learn wisdom and cut off those patterns, then maybe you can go back to the vessel you was in, or go somewhere else. But you know, God will never give you what you can't handle. It's just when you get into it and you start to act stupid. But you know, yeah, and so if your ancestor died a horrible way when they was on Earth, it was a lot of shit that they had to worry about before you. So wherever they went, the level you in, you gotta help them. They can't help you. Connecting with them and trying to pray. Key word, that's why you're supposed to use pray. You have to make sure your ancestor is higher if you're going to use pray. And then still don't use pray, because your ancestor ain't no predator. But you know what I'm saying? You need to understand that. But if you're going to connect with them, make sure you connected with the right things. And if they didn't really give a fuck about you, or they had a lot of things on their mind when they was here, and you could correlate that based upon my descriptions, I was just how they died, or however they felt, whatever like that, you would know. And then yeah, that's how they would come to you. So you want to make sure you're attaching to the right things. Be careful what you are attaching to, because you have to realize also, just because that person shared a strong experience to you, I mean they shared a strong experience with you in the astral realm, and the experience was so strong that it manifested that this person was your family in this lifetime. Y'all shared the same fluid, blood. You have to understand that still may not necessarily be your family. You have to understand, anything tied to vibration and fluid is just shared experiences. So y'all just shared a strong experience together in the astral realm when y'all came here. But for the most part, that may not necessarily be your spirit, your astral family, your real family. And that person is just here for you to overcome some type of experience, or cut off some type of experience. And the closer the experience, and the more the experience was, the closer this person manifests to you in your life. So they can play out as your best friend, or your relative, or an animal, or something like that. But for the most part, that's when they become your worst enemy, but for the most part, y'all just shared a strong experience. That's why it's like that here. But y'all tying names and things to here, and y'all are creating other shit with y'all subconscious here, to the point that now the people y'all sharing experience with, y'all sharing that lifetime with. But that's another video. Flight boss, bitch. Goddamn air.